Warning: this is a show where we talk about our favorite characters in media, so this may be full of spoilers throughout the entire episode. We apologize if that's not quite your thing, but we do hope that you enjoy anyway.
Hello,
Sweet.
and welcome to Five Hit List. That still says tabletop games. That's not supposed to say tabletop games.
What
my,
even are we doing?
My God, what are we doing?
I'll talk about him again.
I mean, yeah, we all could talk about him again. Like that's, I don't think that's a real problem that we
Hey,
would
Mick,
that we
real
would
quick,
have.
top 5 tabletop games.
Okay, I'm in. Top 5 tabletop games. Bolt Action is number 5.
Okay.
Number
Yep.
4 is Raccoon Tycoon. Number 3
I do that one.
is
Yep.
Okay.
Kanto
Yeah.
Kyure.
Okay.
Number 2 is Axis and Allies. Number 1 is Magic the Gathering, with a honorable mention to Spectre Ops.
False. Where's Root?
I have not successfully completed a game of Root.
Neither have I, but it was an honorable mention for me.
Too complicated.
Like honorable mention for the audacity and the idea. The idea that you buy one game and actually play 6 is very intriguing. But
Only play 4 at a time, but you can play up to 6. It's true.
But in any case,
This is not helping with our goal to be done by 9, though.
no, it is not.
Oh.
It's not. But here we are. The topic this week is directors, in particular film. Obviously, there may be some overlap with like TV and things like that because directors will, do various things. But we're not talking about the directors of video games and such, which are their own separate skill set and such. Again, maybe some overlap, but we'll see what we get. So, with us this time, I'm Ian. We'll go in that way direction. Next to me, we have Sean. Below Sean, we have Mick. And last but not least, below me, we have Brian. Hit him. All right. So who wants
That's Brian.
who wants to kick this off? Who wants to
I
go?
want to go first because I want Brian to just get his anger out of it. Just get it done.
Okay.
All right.
Do the thing.
All right. My number 5, and I will say this. So I wanted to do top 5 movies, and I was peer pressured into doing top 5 directors, which I'm not good at, and was very, very hard for me. So, that being said, my number 5 is the Russo brothers. Now, I know that there are 2 of them, Brian,
That's fine, right?
but they always work together.
I'm all right with it.
yeah,
Right.
that's totally fine. They always work
I know
together.
it's fine, but Brian gets angry.
Fair enough.
I like it. You're rationally mad at random things. Like there's a reason for it.
I would say there are enough sibling director units that I think that it's fine. I don't know if you could do a list of just 5. If that's a challenge you want to make, go for it. But
That would be very hard to do.
I think it's doable.
Top 5 historical duos.
But Captain America is my favorite MCU character, and what they've done with him in particular through Winter Soldier into Civil War, and then Infinity War and Endgame. Endgame has its flaws because, again, anytime you fiddle with time travel, you're going to have your flaws. But as far as wrapping up the insanity that the MCU was, they did the best they could, and I thought it was a damn good little series. So I like the Russo brothers. They've done good. They've done well.
I'd concur. Like they had a bag of cats to work with, but they still made a movie that was fun to watch. It's still not my favorite MCU by not even top 10. but still, and like their other stuff is great. Like,
But Hammer Time.
Yeah.
no, we'll talk about this later when we do our MCU episode.
Yeah.
But for me, Endgame is a collection of good scenes, but the plot carrying them together sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I will concede that
man.
there is some problems with the time travel stuff. I will not. There's some plot holes. I won't fight any of that.
Yeah.
But that's true
It's
for
fun to
any
watch.
time travel movie. There's
It is.
no
Yeah.
perfect time travel movie.
Mm-mm.
It's fun to watch.
Except Looper.
And they done good with
Oh,
my boy
oh my
Captain
God.
America.
Time travel movie is gonna have to be an episode one of these days. We'll get there.
Yeah.
You
And don't tilt me with Looper. Oh my God. That movie.
Ian, do you have my images?
Oh crap! Yeah, I should do the images that that I have. That's half the reason why I have you guys do the thing. Look at them.
Yeah.
Look at the Russo brothers.
Enjoy
They are.
their massage.
All right, we'll talk about them never again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because no one else is going to say the Russo brothers because we don't want Brian to get mad at us.
No, this again.
What? I said I'm not mad.
Looper's what made him mad, not the Russo brothers.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna get mad that you keep assuming I'm gonna be mad.
You know, it's fine.
All right.
We like
Alright,
to have
so,
fun here.
We do.
If we're going clockwise, looks like Nick is number.
That's me.
5.
Yeah.
I also have my magic card again with my predictions. I have the prediction of the director who will be on the most lists, as well as at least one director from each of these people's lists, not including my own, obviously. Anyway, my number 5 is Paul Verhoeven. Paul Verhoeven hasn't directed a movie in quite a while, and he didn't really direct very many movies throughout his career. However, bangers only. If he came out of retirement and said that he was making a new movie, I would be stoked. I mean, like RoboCop
Yep.
and Total Recall and Starship Troopers are all almost the exact same thesis, playing out in 3 different ways. That thesis, by the way, is capitalism is bad. So he is really good at making that movie in a bunch of different genres and styles that are all
Skipped
loosely
over
sci-fi.
Showgirls. He apparently directed Showgirls.
Did
Yeah, he also did Showgirls and he did Basic Instinct. So yeah, bangers only for Paul Verhoeven. He's my number 5 director.
And if
Yeah,
it's not a good movie, there's literal banging happening in it. So
Oh yeah, he did Hollow Man.
But they're all. Oh yeah, and he did Hollow Man.
Yeah.
Hollow Man, I guess, was maybe not a banger, but
Okay.
the other ones are. Like Starship Troopers is a movie I watch every year.
yeah,
I like
He does
how
have a movie coming out this year
yeah,
does he?
he does have one. Yep.
called Vendetta.
That sounds great.
That
sounds like
a
the movie
Verhoeven
that he would make. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm in. Paul Verhoeven,
Mhm.
number 5.
Sweet.
I will
Yeah.
say, yeah, like Starship Troopers. Not only is like capitalism's bad, but also like
Fascism is bad.
fascism
Yeah.
bad too. Both at once
Mm.
with bugs.
With bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff. All right,
Yeah.
Brian.
So my number 5.
Yeah.
All right. My number 5 is it by all rights should be higher on my list, but it's Akira Kurosawa. 7 Samurai. The reason he's not higher for me personally is because he's got such a long list of movies, and I haven't seen even half of them. But they're all amazing. Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I need to say much more than that. He's an incredible director, very influential. Everyone has copied him. Like,
Yeah.
fight
He
me.
cast Toshiro Mifune in a whole bunch of movies, and Toshiro Mifune is the man.
Yeah. He's the bomb diggity.
He is. You need a guy to be a samurai?
Boom.
There's your dude.
There's your guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Mifune, I mean, it's not really, he's an actor, but
Still.
he's like the essence of chaotic neutral.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All of his characters.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know about you guys, but my criteria for picking a director was they had to have more than one movie. I have to have seen at least a couple of them. And I mean, these are my criteria, not yours. You know, my own personal.
No, I just mean that I think that that's going to preclude my guess of who would be on your list.
Well, maybe we'll see.
Well, we'll see.
And then also, like, I had to enjoy the majority of the movies that I've seen. Like, because like there are some directors out there where they're just like, I'll pick Michael Bay because I'm pretty sure Michael Bay is not going to be on anybody's list. Like, seen a lot of his movies.
Gotta go
hated
make
most of them. I did like Armageddon though. Not ashamed of that.
I don't like that movie.
I'm not ashamed about it. But my number 5. I also picked if I could find a picture of them in sunglasses. So I had a theme going.
Love that.
My number 5, Mel Brooks. One of the best comedy directors of all time, in my opinion. And comedy is an overlooked branch of film when it comes to like awards and shit. You can have a movie that brings you to tears, but not through like somebody's dog dying, you know? Like, and Mel Brooks just like out of the park. That period that he had in the 70s through the early 90s, everyone was great. Everyone was amazing. And even like Robin Hood Men in Tights, which was not his best film, that's one that I watch pretty much every year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no complaints.
He's damn good.
He's very good.
And also like his, like people talk about Blazing Saddles a lot recently as like, is this okay?
Yeah.
To have made back in the day. And
yep.
Yeah. Still topical stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Go Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty chill, funny dude.
Yeah, I found when I was looking around at lists, he was also very high on the list of like trustworthy celebrities.
Yeah.
I would believe that.
So, yeah.
I think somebody's told stories, I think, like he still goes to like cult showings of his movies, like Spaceballs or Blazing Saddles or Men in Tights. If he can go, I think he tries to go and like meet people, so.
Oh, yeah.
Good on him.
And until Carl Reiner's unfortunate demise last year, he would have lunch with Carl Reiner or dinner every 2-3 times a week. They'd watch Jeopardy, they'd watch The Wheel, they'd have a sandwich. Like, it's just adorable. It's amazing.
He's just like, he's a regular old person.
Yeah.
Doing the stuff that old people do.
Yeah. It's great. But anyway. That's my number 5.
Didn't even think about that, but that's a good one.
Yeah. Good choice. All right, number 4s.
That's me. I go first.
Indeed.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Steven Spielberg, because you can't beat him. I know that he's dropped off a little bit recently, but in terms of creating like 80s and 90s adventure movies, there's just nobody better at it. Like Raiders and E.T. and Jurassic Park and like The Adventures of Tintin even. The Adventures of Tintin was like this amazing adventure movie, like made like right at the beginning of the CGI animation era, and then it just went nowhere after that.
Yep.
Which is such a shame because that movie was so cool. And to see Spielberg's style applied to animation, I was really, really excited to see more of that. And then he did Ready Player One, which was visually interesting and as a movie was bad and very bad. That's all I can really say about that. But you know, when he's good, he's great. And I also really like all of the Spielberg produced cartoons from the 90s. He didn't direct many of those. He directed a couple episodes here and there. Mostly he was just an executive producer. But the world of Spielberg is really cool, especially when Lucas is not involved.
Yeah. Well, I would actually argue that when Lucas is involved, I think Spielberg takes Lucas's ideas and makes them better than Lucas would have done.
I would agree.
I think that's true in the 80s, and then with like Crystal Skull, there's too much George.
Yeah, that's bad.
But yeah, Spielberg is great. He's just like he's like the Ron Howard of action movies. Ron Howard is like he's a finisher. If you want a movie to be a movie, what?
Just Ron Howard.
Ron Howard. Like all these people I should have looked up.
So
sorry.
But yeah, so I guess Ron Howard is my honorable mention, because he's like, he will come in and make a movie. Will it be game-changing cinema? No. Will it be a damn good movie? Yeah, probably. And
odds are good.
Yeah. So anyway, Spielberg, good guy.
Yeah.
I would say...
My only thing is, you said you can't beat him, but then why isn't he number one?
Oh, well, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. There's at least 3 more better than him.
I would say that I like Spielberg, and obviously, yeah, like that, his golden period, like Jurassic Park, Raiders, all of that, all those amazing films, E.T., but he does lose a couple of points for me for being one of those directors who will go back and re-edit his films later. Another thing that he has absorbed from George Lucas.
Never did that to Jurassic Park.
No, but he did it to E.T. And granted,
yeah.
fine, taking the guns
back.
That doesn't make it better. changing something twice is
he realized it was a bad idea.
Yeah, he's fine.
But,
and I also am a big fan of his Mexican counterpart from The Simpsons, Steven Spielbergo, who made the Mr. Burns movie. So yeah, that's my number 4. On to Brian.
Very good choice.
Excellent choice. My number 4 is Steven Spielberg. For the same reasons Mick has said. Like,
wait, is it seriously Steven Spielberg?
Yeah,
it is Steven Spielberg.
Younger picture, but yeah, that him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My criteria for pictures were they have to be the director on set directing. So usually they're behind a camera. But yeah, and to build off of what Mick said, he's got a long period of time for his like golden era. You know, like some of his more recent movies are not as good, but he still occasionally like puts out a banger like Lincoln.
Yeah, that's true.
Like even Munich was good. Like Catch Me If You Can, Minority Report, like that's all like 2000 stuff. Like if you look at his filmography, pretty much from the beginning of his career, pretty much straight to like 2002 around, like those are all really good movies.
I did not like Minority Report. I watched it 3 times and I didn't get it. But it is. Yeah,
I mean,
it was fun to watch all 3 times. But
he's not always great at sci-fi. But like he kind of reinvented the adventure blockbuster genre. Like if there's like a generically bad movie, adventure movie, like it's usually because somebody's like doing a bad impression of Spielberg style. So like another super influential dude who still has a lot of clout, and yeah, he's awesome. Boom.
I agree.
Spielberg.
Perfect number 4.
You would agree.
Yes. All right, Ian's number 4.
Okay, my number 4. All right, my number 4. What did I even pick for 4? I keep hiding that window.
Spielberg.
You can always just pick Spielberg.
No, my number 4, and I will say this is a bit of a combo breaker for my sunglasses rule because I couldn't find a good picture of him in sunglasses, so I'm convinced that he never wears sunglasses. But my number 4 is Rob Reiner. Which
nice.
Not as amazing a resume as some of the others, but like his debut movie was This Is Spinal Tap, and that pretty much helped invent the mockumentary genre right there, while also just being just friggin' hilarious and a great concert film all at once. And of course, you can't mention movies and perfect movies without mentioning Princess Bride.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. So hard to argue with Rob Reiner on that. Again, I didn't find a pic of him with sunglasses, so here is him as a judge, because he does have a fairly extensive acting career as well. But you know.
Also did Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, he did. Like he's actually he's very prolific. He
didn't direct Wolf of Wall Street.
I don't know. I think he
did. Scorsese.
Yeah, those are Scorsese.
You could just.
He might have been a producer.
IMDb allowed him then.
Yep. Oh wait, no. Yeah, let's see. No, it's on. It says on Wikipedia. Let's see.
Maybe he's just in it.
What?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was directed by. He was starred in it. He acted in Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay, my bad.
but yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, like he was like LBJ, The Bucket List, Misery, one of the best Stephen King adaptations, of which that is real hit or miss. Let's be real honest.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and he's like, because of that, he's a very diverse director. Like, he definitely made my list for being able. He's one of those guys who you could probably be like, I need a horror movie, I need a suspense movie, I need a family comedy. Get me Rob Reiner. He will do one of those.
Yeah. I mean, The Princess Bride alone, I think, is almost enough. I mean, When Harry Met Sally, yeah, his 80s stuff is incredible.
It is. Yeah.
Stand By Me. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
His 90s stuff, after A Few Good Men, was kind of like, okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
North.
The 90s was a weird period for a lot of these.
Bruce Willis was in that.
Really?
In North, yeah, he's like a god or like a mall Santa or something. He's a magic guy who's mall Santa, I'm pretty sure. He grants North his wish to find. It's never mind. We don't have to talk about North. I'm getting off track. Don, what's your number 4?
Yeah.
My number 4. Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah! Almost a perfect round. Ian.
There's no way. Is it seriously?
You messed up.
I didn't
Heck
know.
yeah.
Oh my god. All right.
No, I did not mess up. Rob Reiner.
Steven Spielberg. So for the longest time, one of my favorite movies, and when I first saw it in theaters, like it just hit me super hard, was Super 8. Absolutely loved that movie. That was fantastic. And I know that this isn't necessarily about movies, but we've already talked about all of the amazing movies he's done. But he was also a big part in Band of Brothers, The Pacific, these really long form series that were really important to me too. So we've talked about it a lot here. He's great.
Yeah.
Number 3.
I think it's so funny that not only did we all pick Steven Spielberg, but we almost all put him at number 4.
Yeah, incredible.
That's
Yeah.
very funny.
Worth mentioning, not at the bottom of the list. At least one up.
At least one up. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So my number 3 is, and this person doesn't have a ton of movies out yet, but everything that they've made I've pretty much liked, and that's James Gunn.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, he's right now, like, he's a guy who, like, you take a failing franchise and you're like, who's gonna make it better? Like, James Gunn. Get him to give it a crack. He's probably gonna do a good job with it. I mean, you just look at the Suicide Squad. The first movie was a disaster, and now they're like, okay, he's gonna knock it out of the park, because, yeah, I mean, he also took one of the most B or C list,
they were
B list groups in MCU, and made it like the best movie at the time, I think.
I think it's still the best movie.
Like Guardians. Yeah. Guardians is incredible. Like, now everyone knows about a talking tree and his best friend who's a raccoon.
Oh yeah.
You know, like,
one of my favorite parts
ridiculous.
is also, like, his brother Sean Gunn is in the movie. He plays Cracklin, and he was the physical stand-in for Rocket on the movie. So he's this like 6 foot tall, spindly dude, and all the behind the scenes stuff, he's in a Green Man suit, crouching down, walking around.
His head.
Yeah. And I think he doesn't get enough credit. Like, some of the improvised lines were his improvisations.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure the standing in a circle like a bunch of idiots is Sean Gunn's line. But I mean, even some of his first movies, when he like broke out, like Slither and Super.
When he was in his shock phase.
Yeah. Like, he's just good. He's good at everything. I mean, then he's got like Brightburn, so he can do like crazy stuff. Oh, I guess he only produced that, but still.
I was gonna say, I don't think he directed that one.
Yeah, he's only directed a few things, but
he's written a lot.
The things that he's directed have been just
bangers only.
Yeah, bangers only. Like 6 movies, they're all bangers. Yeah. So yeah, James Gunn. There you go.
All right.
Good choice.
Number
I
three.
considered it, but he like you said, it was just the amount that he's done that sort of pulled him off
Yeah.
of mine.
Yeah, I was on the fence about it too, because I was like, well, like he's like, do I go with proportionally what I like by him, or by sheer number I've seen by a certain director?
Yeah.
And I figured proportion definitely had to hold enough weight, especially considering now if somebody says, "Oh, are you gonna go see this movie?" and I'll be like, "Wait, what even is that?" And it's like, "Oh, James Gunn's directing it." I would be like, "Yes,
Yep, going.
no matter what it is." So, figure that's something.
I think that counts. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 3. This is one that like we didn't iron this out beforehand because it was going to be a giveaway. So I don't know if this one technically fits our criteria or not. But my number 3 is actually primarily, almost exclusively works in animation. But my number 3 is Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, that definitely counts.
I sure hope the animation directors count.
Uh-oh.
Not to tip my hand too much on the rest of my list, but
yeah. Going
No,
back
absolutely.
on my stuff, there's him with sunglasses.
And his cat.
And his cat,
Yeah.
who has no schedule. Look at you. You have no schedule. But I mean, what's there not to say about Miyazaki? Like, not a bad movie in his entire list, really.
Yep, bangers only.
And is widely responsible for getting anime to be taken seriously here in America.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And to a point where some people don't even consider it anime because it's
because
like,
it's so high concept, highly respected, but it is.
Well, some people just consider it Japanese Disney movies.
Just
like Disney did when they released them on VHS.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. If you don't know who Hayao Miyazaki is, we've probably never met in person.
I was about to say, like, there's nobody who doesn't know who Hayao Miyazaki is. Come on now.
Yeah.
So
come now.
Yeah, like there's not much more to say about that. So Sean, your number 3.
My number 3 does not fall in the category of bangers only, but the first thing that the first thing that comes to mind when you say this person's name is a trilogy that I'm very sure that all three of us really love, and it's Peter Jackson.
Not a fan of bad taste.
Ah, okay.
So the Lord of the Rings
talking about the Hobbit trilogy, right?
The Lord of the Rings trilogy is fantastic. The Hobbit trilogy is okay.
What about
it's okay.
What about the Meet the Feebles trilogy?
That's not
a
trilogy.
If you watch it 3 times in a row, that's a trilogy.
Why would you do that to yourself?
But so Peter Jackson has done a lot of good. He kind of lost his way. I don't know what caused The Hobbit. I don't know what.
Warner Brothers.
Yeah, a lot.
It might have been Warner.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it too much.
Yeah.
But District 9 was really cool. King Kong was ambitious. He's done a lot of cool stuff outside of just The Lord of the Rings. And even though he didn't direct it, Mortal Engines was a really cool, wacky movie that he produced and had a lot of hands in. So,
and he makes a cameo in Hot Fuzz.
Does he?
Yeah, he's the guy who stabs Angel in the hand dressed as Santa Claus.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Watch Hot Fuzz again.
So when I think of directors, that's one of the ones that sort of jumped out at me right away. It's like Peter Jackson. Oh yeah, the Lord of the Rings. Oh, The Hobbit. The Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings.
And he's in the 90s. He made a movie called The Frighteners, which I think is an underrated gem. It's got Michael J. Fox in it. If you guys haven't seen The Frighteners, check it out. It's awesome.
Yeah, he is just one of those weird directors where, like, you look at his filmography before Lord of the Rings, and you're just like, they picked this guy
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Like he's got like weird messed up puppets or
he kind of looks like a
crazy
big
horror
hobbit.
movies. Like,
Oh yeah, but like,
yeah.
but
And then yeah, Lord of the Rings, you got it.
But yeah, but and I mean, and yeah, no, he did. Like as far as a trilogy of films next to Star Wars, I have watched Lord of the Rings more than any other film franchise.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's true with so many people too.
yeah.
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 So while he did fall off, there was a very strong point. So that's my number 3. So
Yeah, I wish I'd picked him somewhere on my lists. Good choice.
all right.
To match with the theme here, my number 3 is my Miyazaki, because I'm really looking to make sure that I'm matching not just directors but spaces. And it didn't even occur to me to think that like directors wouldn't include animation, because to me animation is my favorite style of movie. I think animation directing is really interesting, and one thing that Miyazaki really excels at is telling stories and creating movies that only could exist in animation. And you can't just be like a regular film director and then make an animated movie. And people do that, and sometimes it works out. Like Steven Spielberg's Tintin is a good example of that. But to be an animation director requires a really specific skill, and I think that that's really cool. And again, bangers only.
Yep.
Also, just the nature of his storytelling, where there aren't necessarily like good guys and bad guys. There's protagonists and antagonists, which is really more of like a Japanese filmmaking aesthetic in general. But like the success in the West didn't change any of his approaches to storytelling. Like he didn't start making anything that was interested in catering to Western audiences, because
if anything,
because that's he got more esoteric, right?
Yeah.
And then like, Princess Mononoke was a lot of people's introduction to him in the West, and they looked at all these movies and was like, none of these are like Princess Mononoke. So it's cool that he has range in that regard. So yeah, Miyazaki's great.
Yep.
There's really only 2 directors I think that are better.
Well, like even films like
spoilers,
like the one that he's sitting next to in that picture with his apron.
The Wind Rises.
The Wind Rises, which is like it's just a biopic movie about the guy who designed the Mitsubishi Zero from World War II. It's just about an aeronautical engineer. That's it. It's just this dude's life.
It's literally not just about it. It's also about like life in Japan at the time.
Oh yeah,
and the culture of war, and like the intersection between technology and warfare, which is present throughout almost all of his movies.
But that's what I'm getting at. Like at the beginning, you read the back of it, and it's just like, this is about the man who invented the Zero. And you're just
that's the elevator pitch.
Yeah,
right?
It's the elevator pitch. But then you watch the movie, and it's just like, no, I got to watch this whole thing and figure out and see all of it. I need to experience all of this. And it still delivers. It's just even in a movie about a guy who draws airplane parts for a living. And arguably made one of the best airplanes ever invented. Still just like, nope, I have to watch all 2 hours of this without looking away.
Yeah. I'm invested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good pick.
I would agree.
Yep.
Yep.
And then Ian, you're next, right? You go right from closing Miyazaki to opening number 2.
I guess I do. Yes. So, who is my number 2? I can never remember because I'm always just like,
I don't know. You tell us.
My number 2, similar to James Gunn,
Steven Spielberg,
in that there's not a huge breadth of his work yet, but everything that I've seen I loved, bangers only, up and down, is let's see, where's the thing? I'll put the thing up first. Well, I spell his name is Taika Waititi.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be Taika.
Yep.
That was one of my predictions. Ian is going to pick Taika Waititi.
Like I've only seen 2 of his films, and again, his list isn't super long yet. But his domestically produced film Boy was, award-winning. Thor Ragnarok saved the Thor character in the MCU. Like Chris Hemsworth was thinking of calling it quits, like Robert Downey Jr. after one more movie, but shooting Thor 3 with Taika Waititi was like, no, I'm in, I'm back, I'm carry this business. And Jojo Rabbit, which, despite being a movie about a Nazi child soldier,
starring Hitler.
Yeah, he plays
Hitler.
So have you not seen What We Do in the Shadows then?
Oh well, I haven't. Well, I've seen the TV show, which he's an executive producer and writer for. Yeah. I just haven't gotten my hands on a copy of the original movie.
Gotcha.
But I know I'm gonna love it. Because I love the TV show. I love Jermaine Clement. So him and Jermaine Clement is just right there for me. But yeah, like Jojo Rabbit's one of the best films that I saw leading into the pandemic times. It's like, it was to the point where, yeah, when it came out, I don't buy movies on Blu-ray a whole bunch anymore, but I bought Jojo Rabbit the day it came out. Haven't watched it again yet because it's movie. A lot. But yeah, no, it's just, and even the episode of The Mandalorian that he directed.
I didn't know he did one.
He did. He was one of the directors on The Mandalorian, and watching him at a round table with the other directors, who are all like very serious film directors and widely respected, within their genres, and then there's Taika in a Hawaiian pineapple shirt around the table, just be like, I wanted to do something a bit silly, and I did.
Yeah, he also directed a few episodes of Flight of the Conchords.
That checks out, yeah.
Yeah, he also did, like Thor, definitely one of the weakest series of movies in the MCU until Ragnarok became like that's definitely in my top 10. I don't know if it's top 5 anymore, but amazing. He also did like the mockumentary shorts Team Thor.
He did.
Which explains why he wasn't in Civil War?
Yep. Because he was just hanging
around. Those are hilarious. Yeah, because like he had a roommate, hanging out with his roommate. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Yeah. Good choice.
Great choice.
Yep. Sean.
Number 2. What's my number 2?
Yeah.
What's your number 2?
What's my number 2?
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
Is that really the number 2?
That is my number 2.
Oh, hey.
What?
I gotta look up this guy's name so I spell it right.
Denis Villeneuve.
I didn't know if it was going to make it to your number 1, but I was like, it's definitely on your list.
It is definitely on my list. Spoilers for when we do top films. He is the director of my favorite movie of all time, Arrival. If you ever want, I'll scream about Arrival at you.
Good movie.
It's fantastic.
It's okay.
I swear to God, Brian.
It's fine.
Also did Blade Runner 2049, which I've watched a couple of times now, and I didn't understand at first, but it's gotten better every time I've watched it.
Perfect.
And I feel like a lot of his movies are like that. They're very cerebral and strange. But pretty much everything that I've watched of his, I've really enjoyed. But even though he's the director of my favorite movie, yes, he did do editing. Even though he's the director of my favorite movie, his body of work isn't strong enough for him to take my number 1 spot. So
it's fair.
Yeah. So I've only seen a couple of these.
I have seen none of these, I think.
You haven't seen Arrival?
No.
Or Blade Runner?
And I've seen most of Enemy.
No, I never saw Blade Runner 2049. I've seen the original.
He also is directing Dune.
I'm bringing you a copy of Arrival.
That I will see. I will go see Dune. Hell yeah.
I keep buying copies of Arrival and just giving them to people.
It's true.
It's what I do. I'll bring you a copy and make you watch it. It's so goddamn good.
It's very good.
Actually, let's see. Yeah, no, I've never actually. Nope, never. But that's not because I don't want to.
All right. Well.
Alrighty, so my number 2.
Yes.
You know, once upon a time, being a middle class, depressed white boy, I would be remiss if I didn't put Wes Anderson on this list. It's my heritage. This is where I come from. This is who I was. That's him.
Yeah,
I don't know who that other person is.
I don't either.
Actually,
I hit the wrong button, so we'll find out who that is.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, Wes Anderson is great. Like, all of his movies always have amazing soundtracks. He works with the same cast of actors who are also all great, like Bill Murray and Owen Wilson and frickin' the Gideon Graves, whose name I can never remember. What's Gideon Graves' real name? Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah, Jason Schwartzman. Edward Norton, Willem Dafoe. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just the other Wilson. No. Yeah, the other Wilson.
Luke Wilson's in
Luke Wilson.
bunch, yeah.
Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody, who's who I was thinking of when I had a mental image of Adrian Brody and was thinking that he was a Wilson. He's not. Anyway.
We'll accept him into the clan. I'll make the executive decision.
Yeah, that's fine.
And again, here is another director who is primarily a director of live action films who has done animation directing, and he makes that leap very easily because many of his regular movies are structured like animated movies. Yeah. So it's a stereotype, like, oh yeah, middle class white hipsters, they love Wes Anderson. I was like, yes, I do, because he's great.
I think his version of Fantastic Mr. Fox was perfect.
Fantastic Mr. Fox is another one of the movies that I would watch every year. Yeah. Like, it might be my favorite movie. It's hard to say.
The Life Aquatic's real good.
Well, no. Fantastic Mr. Fox is definitely my favorite Wes Anderson movie. I'm saying it might be my favorite movie. Anyway, but that's a different list.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, his stuff is okay. I'm not crazy about him. I don't know. It's weird. His stuff it always feels awkward to me.
It is.
See, for me, that's a feature, not a bug. I love that. Like, I want movies to be awkward and make me feel like shit.
What was the movie that you had me watch, Nick, that I just was like, I don't get it?
Annihilation?
No. Was it Grand Budapest Hotel? Is that the one?
Grand Budapest Hotel is a comedy. That you probably would have been able to get that one. What was it about? Was it a Wes Anderson movie?
I thought it was.
Was it Rushmore?
Royal Tenenbaums? Yeah, that one.
It might not have been a Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
I will think about this. Yeah, we can come back to it.
Yeah.
If you remember more details about the plot.
My only thing is I recently watched a video that kind of pointed out he has trouble representing other cultures that aren't white.
Oh yeah.
And I kind of agree with it.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he does make good, entertaining movies that are thought-provoking. I will say that at the very, very least.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that movie was Hail Caesar.
I Love Dogs? Oh.
Hail Caesar.
That was a Coen Brothers film.
Yeah, that movie is great, but it is very odd.
Yeah. All right, my number 2?
Yeah.
Number 2.
So here's another guy who's made a trilogy of movies that I'm pretty sure all of us like, or
Peter
at least
Jackson.
can quote. No.
Oh,
Who do you think?
Edgar
George Lucas.
No, Christopher Nolan.
Oh, okay.
Christopher Nolan.
Oh,
Christopher Nolan.
I don't know this guy by face.
So I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy, incredible.
Yep.
He's also Memento for a long time.
Memento's really good.
It's always been high on my list of movies. Was in my top 3 forever. Still definitely in my top 10. Inception is another movie that I just completely love. I still really like the Prestige. Interstellar I thought was okay, and I enjoyed a lot of Tenet. He's another one of those directors where you tell me something, even if I've never heard of the movie, you say, oh, well, it's a Christopher Nolan film, I'll probably go see it in theaters.
That tracks.
Yeah, he has a vision. He's usually really good at executing a grand cinematic vision, and yeah, anything he has a hand in, I usually like at least a little bit, except for some of the DC movies that I haven't seen yet that he's produced.
He's producing.
Yeah, and this is a director's list, not a producer's list.
Yeah, I am sad that I missed out on watching Dunkirk because I've heard nothing but good things about that, and it's hard to make a modern war movie good.
Have you seen
I've heard it's really good.
Though?
I did, and that I enjoyed immensely.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah,
such a great movie.
Yeah.
Nick, you and I saw that. That was the last thing we saw.
That may be the last movie that you and I saw in theaters together.
Yeah, before the end times.
But the last movie I saw before the end times began was the My Hero Academia movie.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Which, good one to go out on.
Yeah,
great one to go out on.
No, I managed to see 1917 at the Saco Drive-In Theater, because last year that was not only the only way to see a movie, but the best way to see a movie from your own car.
So we on honorable mentions?
Yeah, I'm good to keep on going through if we want to do honorable mentions.
Yeah, let's go right through.
Sure.
So who's that put us at?
I put this at you.
Me.
No,
you.
Me.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sean.
I
Sean.
kicked it off with, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. So, Sean.
Yeah.
All right, so honorable mention number 1. Want to load that up for me? I just want to make sure we get the right one.
Okay, HM01, Fly.
Yeah.
Wait, Brian's is still up there. There we go.
Caught up. Come on.
Should
on
be.
Twitch.
Should be.
It's
Come on,
going to be
Come
Audible.
on, Twitch.
Spotify
It's
and Audible.
not Audible and Spotify. No, it's
both.
The
Wachowskis.
The Wachowski sisters.
Yeah.
This is another trilogy that, some people love. I really like the Matrix trilogy. There are some wacky bits. There are some things that are not great.
Mm-hmm.
But, Nick was talking about the Wes Anderson, when you're a kid. This was my, when I was a kid. This was what I really loved. This was a lot of really cool stuff. I haven't seen a lot of other stuff that they've done. So that's sort of why they fell into the honorable mention category.
What about Speed Racer?
I have not seen Speed Racer.
Speed Racer is surprisingly good.
Speed Racer is really, really good, actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it is because it's a Speed Racer adaptation. But
have you seen
Jupiter Ascending?
I think we all watched it together, and I didn't understand it.
It was not to be understood.
It
was a little weird, but it's one of those grand visions that I think gets in their own way a little bit, and they're like, "We made the goddamn Matrix. We can do this again," and then they just sort of get lost.
Yeah, that definitely felt like a trilogy of movies they tried to cram into one movie. Yeah. Yeah.
So the Wachowski sisters, and then my other honorable mention would be picture number 2, Stanley Kubrick, because he directed the moon landing.
Well stated.
And that's all I have to say about
that. Okay.
Oh my god.
No, I appreciate Kubrick as an option just for his use of sound.
Landing. Yeah, the moon landing.
You watch 2001. And you don't realize until the end of the movie when space has sound again that it's just you managed to use negative space in sound in a way that most directors use negative space visually.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Weird.
Pretty good.
Friggin' weird.
A little weird.
But
I think he's an asshole.
Oh, no,
he is. He is famously a huge asshole.
He
also,
is an asshole.
Yeah, his directing style is, he's a huge.
He made Shelley Duvall cry on set.
Yeah,
and made her quit acting. So
yeah, no, he's a dick, and I mean he's dead, so we can say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dead. That serves you right,
I'd say it to his face.
Yeah,
I'd say it to his face.
But yeah, Doctor
U.S. had to take him out because
great.
of the moon landing. They couldn't have him talking about it.
It's true. Yeah, they covered it up.
Yeah,
Oh.
they got him.
All right. So I don't know what order. I didn't put mine in order, so I'm just going to wait for a picture to pop up and talk about it.
This one's HM01 Mick.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Which one is it?
This one.
It's Jim Henson. He's great.
Oh, yeah.
The thing about Jim Henson is he is a really, really good, like, he's obviously an incredibly talented puppeteer. He's got a great imagination. And I think that his skill as a director is often overshadowed by that. But, like, he directed most of the original Muppet movies. He directed Labyrinth, and he was also the primary director on The Muppet Show and Sesame Street. So he really had a ton of talents. And, like, I don't know. I just felt that it would be remiss not to mention him in some way. Like maybe he deserved the number 5 over Paul Verhoeven, but I don't watch the Muppet movie every year. I watch Starship Troopers every year. But just Jim Henson is amazing. He's just a good dude, a great imagination. His characters have such a legacy to them, and I think the way he inspired his teams to continue his work after his death is also really, really cool. And how the spirit of the Muppets, and especially the spirit of Sesame Street, continues on in that like inclusivity, education sort of thing, and didn't ever become too commercialized. And that's because of his vision and his leadership. So thanks, Jim Henson.
Yeah, great choice.
Miss you every day.
Yeah, very good.
Now it makes me wonder who number 2 is. If you've got such a paragon of humanity as number 1.
Well, I will tell you my honorable mention to my honorable mentions was ContraPoints, because I think that directing YouTube videos is a very interesting medium, and I don't think anyone does it better than her. Anyway, Lord and Miller is my actual honorable mention. It turns out a lot of the movies that I thought they directed, they only produced. Like they only produced Mitchell versus the Machines, they only produced Into the Spider-Verse. But again, these are two dudes that know how to direct an animated movie. Like they did the Lego movie, but they also did 21 Jump Street, which was way funnier than it had any business being. And they did the first Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So I am just really interested in watching these guys continue to make animated films and make comedies, because those are two skills that I think are really, really interesting. And especially if they're going to lend some of their directorial spirit as producers to stuff like Spider-Verse and making more movies aimed at young adults as opposed to like kids, that's really cool. So not quite the paragon of humanity as Jim Henson, but still really, really talented filmmakers doing some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And they're not even brothers like the Russos, and I picked them as a pair, so.
It counts. And they did give us some of Solo. We don't really know what parts, but some.
And there's Ron Howard once again, the finisher. And now I've turned red, actually, because my monitor has adjusted to a different color now that it's slightly darker in here. It's very amusing. But yeah.
Sweet. Good choice.
Good choice.
All right.
Brian.
So is my HMs?
Yep.
So all my HMs are crammed into one picture.
Yes.
Nice.
So some have been mentioned. We got Taika Waititi and the Russo brothers. So
nice.
Sean, there was nothing to fear because they're on my.
Oh, I had all kinds of stuff to fear.
And then I also wanted to honorable mention Guillermo del Toro, who's got a great body of work, and Harold Ramis.
Who's got a great body.
And Harold Ramis, who does have a great body. No, and
of work.
Work. No joke though. Harold Ramis is a good choice.
Yeah, Harold Ramis. I mean, Ghostbusters. Come on. Yeah, what else is? Just
he did a bunch.
Down,
like he was
memory lane. Caddyshack, The First Vacation, Groundhog Day, Multiplicity, which I love. I even liked his version of Bedazzled, and he did Analyze This and Analyze That. He's great.
Is Bedazzled the one with Hugh Grant?
No, that's the one with Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Okay.
Wait.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did see that then. Okay.
Yeah.
Harold
Ramis was fantastic.
I was gonna say I didn't think I saw that, but I did, and it's also very good. Vintage.
Yeah. So Taika and Russo's basically because there's not a, I don't know, they didn't fit either the proportion or quantity that I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
Guillermo, there's a bunch of stuff I haven't seen, and
Del Toro for me, like a lot of his stuff is very good and very visually amazing, but too weird for me.
Oh, see, I love his style.
Too weird. Like Shape of Water is too weird.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. So it's like that's another thing. Like I haven't seen some of his stuff yet, which like I want to see and I probably will like, but I don't like not enough that I'm like going out of my way to go see it. Like some of my choices on my top 5.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, those are my honorables.
All right. Let's see. I've got 3. So we'll just blast right through those. My first honorable is, if I can find it, is Steven Spielberg.
Oh!
in the sunglasses yet again. But yeah, gotta have
nice.
Gotta have the Spielberg on there somewhere. If for nothing else, Jurassic Park. Like really. And then
you just took my picture.
No, I didn't.
Because I edited it to have the blue in the background. That's my picture.
All right, fine. I didn't have a picture of him with sunglasses, so I took yours because you did. But my second honorable mention is Ishiro Honda of Godzilla fame, because I mean he didn't technically invent the kaiju genre because the original King Kong was made back in the 30s, but damn if he didn't perfect it.
He's a really big. Look at how big he is.
I know, giant of a man.
Very big man.
But like, no, he managed to make a monster movie that should have just been like a popcorn B movie feature, and he made it like intense social commentary on war and nuclear power and occupation and the natural world, while giving us friggin' Godzilla. You know, like what is just great. The only thing that keeps him from the numbered list is that, to be honest, his Godzilla movies are the only ones that I've seen. I know he's got a much broader body of work than that, but Godzilla's really all I know. My other honorable mention, also in Shades, is Ron Howard. Apollo 13 and Solo, like those put him on the list for me, just those 2. And that's completely ignoring all of his work as an actor on the Andy Griffith Show and Happy Days.
Arrested Development as the narrator.
Yes. So good.
And also starring as himself in the later seasons that were Netflix exclusive.
Yep. But yeah, little Ronnie Howard. Look how he grew up. But yeah, like Mick said, he's a finisher. Like you need a movie done on time and good. He's your guy.
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna get to my pick, Ian. I feel very confident that my prediction for you will not be your number 1.
Okay.
Oh, our predictions falling apart?
Well, no. I mean, I messed up the MVP. That's not going to work. Clearly not here. I got Villeneuve, and remains to be seen for Brian and Ian. Ian is not looking good though.
Yeah. So my guess is I didn't guess one for Sean.
Well, Sean.
But like Mick, I knew you were gonna pick Wes Anderson, and I knew Ian was gonna pick Taika Waititi, even though Taika's only done a few movies. But I have a guess of your guess, Mick. But we'll see if that happens.
We'll see if it happens. And Sean still has his honorable mentions, right? No, he started with this.
No,
so it's my number 1.
Yes, you lead off with your number 1.
Indeed.
Does anybody want to guess?
Oh, well, let's see.
Based on who is already on my list.
I would have guessed Miyazaki, but you already put them at 3.
Same with Spielberg, because I know you love Jurassic Park.
I do.
Yeah. And Wes Anderson, you had at number 2 instead of number 1. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, I got my guess.
Okay.
All right.
Kevin Smith.
A valid choice. And
yeah,
he almost,
you know me.
He almost made my list.
I do love Clerks. No, my number 1 is Satoshi Kon.
Yeah.
I've said a lot of things like, oh, Wes Anderson bangers only, Hayao Miyazaki bangers only, Paul Verhoeven bangers only, but that's actually true of Satoshi Kon. Like, I like all the other movies, but Satoshi Kon directed 4 movies, all of which were perfect. There is not a flaw to be found in any of his feature-length films. Paprika, Millennium Actress, Tokyo Godfathers, and Perfect Blue. Through and through, visual masterpieces, excellent storytellings, and so far ahead of their time, it is ridiculous. And he died so early, and he had so much promise left in his career, and he was a huge influence on animation and storytelling, even dying as early as he did. And I think that if he had been around, he would have continued to make just incredible films, which honestly are more relevant than when they were created. And each one of them is so different from the other ones, but they all lean so heavily into being animated. They are stories that you cannot tell in traditional film. Some of the other animated movies that I really like, you could do them in live action and tell the same story, but like Millennium Actress would never work as a live action. It just wouldn't.
No.
Paprika would never work as a live action. I mean, arguably Inception is basically Paprika, but different enough. And then Tokyo Godfathers is so great because at a time when Japanese politics was gripped by reactionary conservatism, he offered very humanizing portraits of the underclass, and specifically of like people experiencing homelessness and people experiencing medical problems, and is still like one of the only positive representations of a trans person in anime. Like, there are lots of situations where they're kind of like skirting around the edges of it, or they're playing it as a joke, or they're playing it like it's a fetish or something. But Tokyo Godfathers is one of the only movies where they treat that character with real humanity and tell her story in a compelling way. So there is nobody like Satoshi Kon, and there may never be again. So he's my number 1.
Yeah, I recently watched both Millennium Actress and Tokyo Godfathers pretty much back to back for the first time.
Oh Jesus! You must have been annihilated.
It was a lot. Like Millennium Actress didn't hit me as hard as Tokyo Godfathers. That is damn good.
When Cinemagic did their like Fathom events and they screened Millennium Actress, I had a full on like breakdown in the theater.
It's just damn good. Like it really is. And he's notable for also actually one of the few of these directors who's also done a TV show. Like Paranoia Agent.
Paranoia Agent is also incredibly good.
Yeah. Again, still anime, but still, like, even the transition from making an anime film to an anime series is just as different from going live action film to live action series. Like, you can't just... It takes a special kind of director to do both.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I could literally talk about him for the rest of the hour, so I will be done with Satoshi Kon for now. All right, Brian, don't let me down.
Follow up Satoshi
All right, so
Kon.
Nick is going to tell you my number 1.
Edgar Wright.
It is Edgar Wright.
Okay, I'm going to be honest here, and I'm not automatically familiar with Edgar Wright.
What?
Tell me why I should be.
So Edgar Wright, he kind of got started doing the TV show Spaced. That was one of his first big projects, which was a British TV show that had Simon Pegg. And then he did the Cornetto trilogy, which includes Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Even The World's End is definitely the weakest of the trilogy, but it's still a movie that I would probably watch over a lot of other movies just because it's fun.
Still fun.
The only movies I haven't seen by him that have been released so far are Fistful of Fingers and Baby Driver. He also, of course, did Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yep, the greatest movie of all time.
Yes, it's incredible. We're gonna fight.
Oh.
But like everything he has a hand in, he has a very distinctive style. Like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End, all like different genres of movies. Definitely his movies though. Scott Pilgrim, of course, too. Outside of that trilogy, I would have loved to have seen what he would have done for Ant-Man. Even some of those sequences definitely were obviously written by him, but not directed by him because they still don't capture the essence of his style. He's another one of those directors.
He still wrote parts of Ant-Man, right?
Yeah, they did use some of it. Yeah, but he, like his stuff, he's one of those directors that if you tell me he's making a movie, I'll be like, I will definitely see that eventually.
Baby Driver is good, but it has Kevin Spacey, so it's like,
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah,
that was before all that stuff came out about him.
That is terrible. True. So we didn't know at the time. So I actually almost had Edgar Wright as one of my honorable mentions, but then I was like, Brian will have it covered. I don't need to include Edgar Wright. I can just agree with whatever Brian says.
Yeah, I love him. He's got a, like, of all of his movies, I think Hot Fuzz is closest to what I would consider like the perfectly directed movie.
I would agree with that.
Scott Pilgrim is incredible too, but it's got its lulls here and there. But Hot Fuzz, just like from a directing capacity, it's so off the wall, but so perfectly edited and directed. I just absolutely love that movie.
No wasted lines either. Like everything is a setup or a payoff.
Yeah.
I am so fortunate because I saw Hot Fuzz before I saw any of his other movies, and I hadn't even seen a trailer. So I didn't realize that it was supposed to be a parody until about an hour into it. I thought it was, I legit went into Hot Fuzz being like, oh, cool, it's a cop movie. It's like a buddy cop action movie. And then when things went off the rails in the third act, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. It's so good. And the first time I saw it in theaters, I walked in and I'd missed like the first little, like part of the first montage where he's just kind of like giving the narration over like his career and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I missed half the movie because there's so much just loaded in that first montage of him like getting stabbed by Peter Jackson dressed as Santa Claus. Like Mick said, like there, like nothing goes to waste in that movie. Like, and they even, like, Edgar Wright also has a history of like including, at least in that trilogy, somebody in the first act always breaks down everything that's going to happen in the movie in a subtle way.
Yeah.
And then it's executed. And if you go back and watch it, you'll be like, wait a second, that's a metaphor for everything that's going to happen.
Go to the Winchester and have a pint.
Yep. Yeah.
Wait for this to all blow over.
No luck catching them killers then. Big mushy beard. Yeah. So it's what's not to love about Edgar Wright?
Yeah.
Okay, Ian.
If I had processed the information, Edgar Wright would have probably been on this list for me. I completely forgot about him.
You have one job.
Mm-hmm.
What's your prediction?
Tell me
Nick?
that your number one director of all time is Irvin Kershner.
Now,
tell me that's the number one.
All right, I'm going to put up the picture, and in a few seconds, when Mick sees it,
once the stream catches up.
Yeah, once the stream catches up.
Okay, I'm still looking at Edgar Wright.
Yep.
I don't know what Irvin Kershner looks like.
He doesn't look like that. He doesn't look like Edgar Wright.
Oh, it's the same person? It's also Edgar Wright?
No, it's not also Edgar Wright.
Okay.
No.
It's like,
No, for me, it is a man who looks nothing like Edgar Wright or Irvin Kershner. I chose Akira Kurosawa as best
Yeah, I
director
almost
of all
took that
time.
picture.
Now, you're on the right track with Irvin Kershner because Empire is one of my favorite films of all time. And
I thought for sure you would at least include him as, because you're like kind of an a-hole sometimes, and you like to bend the rules. And I'm just saying.
No,
I'm just calling it like I see it.
She's right. She's absolutely right.
Ian is the kind of person who would be like, I picked Irvin Kershner because I really like Star Wars, but George Lucas sucks, so I picked the only director in Star Wars who did anything that was good. Tell me that doesn't sound like Ian. Tell me that's not worth at least an honorable mention.
I'm pretty sure that is those exact words I have said.
She's got you.
Yeah. You're fucking pegged.
No, yeah, it's true. It's true. But I did actually stick with my rules this time.
Fair enough.
In that Empire's the only movie from Kershner that I've ever seen.
I discovered that. Yeah, I was like, well, there's no way.
Yeah,
once I knew the rules.
You haven't seen RoboCop 2?
I stand corrected. Wait, no, who did RoboCop 2 then?
Kershner.
Okay. So I stand corrected. I have seen RoboCop 2. I've seen the first 3 RoboCop movies. Yeah, third
Only
one.
The first one is good.
Yeah. Second one wasn't that great, but
apparently RoboCop 2 was the last thing that he did.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, unfortunately, like his career was he kind of peaked late. Unfortunately for him.
Yeah.
But
anyway, sorry, Kurosawa. I was interrupting you.
But no, we can talk about Kershner while we're on the subject. But no, Empire is one of my favorite movies. It is the best Star Wars movie in my opinion, just in its entire process and the fact that it has a beginning, middle, and end, and knew what it set out to do while they were writing it. And the fact that yes, Kershner was like, I am going to direct this film. George Lucas will give me ideas, and he will produce it. But this is my movie.
He will get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. Which, to date, he is the only director to have done that in a Star Wars film. So, go Irvin. But no, I had to pick Kurosawa. Like Brian mentioned before, when he was his number 5, Seven Samurai is one of the most... It became an archetype of film, almost a genre into itself. Star Wars is a take on the Seven Samurai in its own way. George Lucas straight up admitted that back in the 80s.
I thought it was Fortress.
Well, it's a bit Lucas is a huge Kurosawa nerd all over the place.
Yeah,
but the idea of I'm gonna of the party slowly coalescing over the course of the first act of the film. That's definitely a nod to Seven Samurai. But for me, Throne of Blood is really the movie that brings it over the top. I've seen a bunch of Kurosawa's movies and I enjoyed all of them. Rashomon is an amazing idea and amazing execution. But Throne of Blood, even though it is basically Macbeth, it's just a take on Macbeth. But it's a take on Macbeth with no theater on film, and it's just the best example of the way he made movies, including having Toshiro Mifune, who we talked about before, in accurate samurai armor, getting shot at by a dozen trained archers in the climax of the film. As you watch it, it's not like arrows on wires. There are guys offset with bows, actually, intentionally missing the actor, and he waves his arms to knock arrows out of his path. It's so they knew where the hell he was going to move next, so they didn't shoot him on accident. And meanwhile, Kurosawa's back behind the camera, going nope, focus it more. Focus it more.
Yep, sounds right.
And keep him in shot. Right. And it's all one shot.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The thing, and this was in the 40s and 50s that he was doing crazy stuff like this?
Yeah.
And it was 57.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was 57, yeah.
And a lot of his movies are are still like Honda, commentaries on the state of Japan at the time. He started making movies during the American occupation when he wasn't allowed to put a lot of stuff in his movies. but he did anyway.
They didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, they didn't know. It was just a bunch of GIs. They don't. Most of them didn't even speak Japanese. So what are they gonna know? And yeah, but just like a lot of the filmmaking techniques that he brought to cinema because he did them so early are now standard. The ones that haven't been replaced with newer, better technology. But like, and just yeah, he's just that classic like, I need the sound of someone getting cut in half by a katana, probably by Mifune. So he like had pig carcasses and extras and Foley men, sound men, hacking up pork to get the sound of a sword going through a body just right. And then the craft services table was nothing but pork products.
Yeah. That's practical filmmaking right there.
That's keeping to a budget.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for what he brought to filmmaking and how good his films still are today, even though most of them are black and white, with outdated subtitles, like translation wasn't what it was then as it is now. They still stand up and down. And yeah, and he's been the inspiration for half the directors on these lists so far. So
definitely true.
Yeah.
Also, the inspiration for one of the funniest lines from The Simpsons ever. When the episode where the family goes to Japan, Homer's complaining about it, and Marge is like, "Well, you liked Rashomon," and Homer says, "That's not how I remember it."
So smart. Such a good joke.
Just an incredibly good joke.
Oh my God, that is.
And also, one of the scenes from The Seven Samurai is the most copied shot in movie history, which is the scene of the bandits riding down the hill on the horses in one shot. Like, that is the most copied shot in movie history.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he's left an impact, that's for sure.
And he's in sunglasses.
He wore them a lot.
Yeah,
very important.
I looked his picture up first because he was going to be my number one, and I'm like, wait, he's in shades. I'm really sure I can get a picture of every single one of these directors in shades. And everybody but Reiner.
Should have photoshopped it next time.
I could have. But
all right. So Sean, you're number one.
All right. Mick, what's my number one?
Oh, the only thing I had on your list was Villeneuve. I didn't think that you would have another number one. Maybe
Luke Besson.
What
do you like The Fifth Element? I should have led
Luc
with that
Besson.
question.
Yeah, Luc Besson. Panos Cosmatos.
Brian, what's my number one?
Oh shit, it's Ben
Audible.
Stiller.
It's not Ben Stiller. It's not Audible. It's Spotify. No.
Oh my God.
No, my number
YouTube.
one is Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right, nerds.
And just like I was talking about with Villeneuve, it's just because he's had a few more movies. Tenet, incredible. Weird. I have to watch it again with subtitles because when we were watching it in the theater, I couldn't understand what the hell was being said. But really, really cool. Really, really high concept. Interstellar, incredible. Inception, incredible. Batman trilogy, pretty damn good. Like, I love Christopher Nolan outside of the Batman trilogy, and that says something. So, if it was a real tight race between him and Villeneuve for number one, but he's had more movies. That's all it boils down to. So.
Yeah.
Because when Nick a while back posted it was the top 5 movies of the last 10 years or something like that. 2 of them were Christopher Nolan movies.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so that just whoop. So
yeah.
Interstellar and Inception were right up there. And if we were to redo that list right now, Tenet might crack the list. I have to watch it again. I have to watch it again to really understand.
Well, the 10-year time frame has moved up, so maybe something falls off the bottom.
Or not Interstellar. Inception falls off because it is 2010.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, most of the Batman trilogy pops off at that point if we're going with that scale.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, Dark Knight was like 2007.
And I do need to see Dunkirk. I still need to see that. I've heard a lot of really good about it. I've heard some kind of like
Dark Knight was
middling stuff about it, but yeah. So Christopher Nolan.
And also, I want to chime in. Another thing I thought of is in a time where a lot of people have gotten bored of movies because they're either all superhero movies or they're all Star Wars. Christopher Nolan comes out with like new ideas in filmmaking that are just really grand and cinematic, you could say. He keeps movies fresh and interesting. And Tenet, I think, could have been the movie to break people out of a pandemic, but I think he released it too early, and the sound mixing was not good.
The sound mixing was abysmal.
Yeah.
But like I think Brian said it about Christopher Nolan too. But if I hear with Tenet, I saw a preview for it and I was like, I don't know what this is, but Christopher Nolan did it, so I'm going.
Yep.
So,
that sounds right.
And I think I messaged Nick and Brian. And I was like, I know we're in a pandemic, but I'm gonna rent out the theater, and we're just gonna sit 6 seats apart. We're going to see the stupid movie.
Yeah, and I'm so glad we saw it in the theater because that was a great theater experience.
Yeah, it was.
Like that last battle is ridiculous.
And even though I didn't like rent the theater, only 2 other people showed up, and they were 8 rows behind us. It was fine.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun at that.
Yeah, we're like, well, nobody else bought a ticket, so do we have to rent the whole theater? The movie starts in like 2 minutes. It's fine.
Yeah. But
yeah,
so Christopher Nolan, very, very good. Good stuff.
I will say,
Great.
like, yeah, he managed to. I know, like, Batman is not his career. He's very much made that clear. But, like, he brought the Batman franchise back.
Oh yeah, Batman was kind of rough.
Like,
and then
my dishonorable mention is Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
That would actually be a fun bottom 5 list.
Oh yeah.
Maybe,
oh man.
If you ever
April
needed
Fool's
April
Day every
Fool.
year.
Yeah, bottom 5.
Because like we had did I know Schumacher did Batman and Robin. Did he do?
He
any
also
of the
did
ones?
Forever.
He did Forever as well. Okay.
Yeah, he did both those. He put nipples on the bat suit.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
He had
That was
Tommy
the
Lee
best
Jones
part.
and Jim Carrey in a movie and fucked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do that?
That's yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And he was
he was the music video director for a while, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
He's a weird dude.
See, yeah, but especially like coming off of like we had the Tim Burton high because obviously Batman is great. Batman and Batman Returns also pretty damn good.
Yeah.
My unpopular opinion is those movies suck also.
Well,
they're basically they're almost as bad as the Schumacher ones in my opinion.
Wait,
They
which
definitely haven't
movie?
aged as well.
Whoa, which ones?
The
Batman and Batman Returns.
The 2 Tim Burton films. That
Oh,
started the
Batman
film
Returns
franchise.
is way stupider than you remember it being.
I thought you were talking about the
I've
Nolan
seen it.
Batman movies.
No. I've seen it recently. Batman Returns is definitely not as good as Batman. It just isn't.
He did do a Time to Kill though.
The Selena Kyle arc is just confusing, and like why is it here?
Getting licked to life by cats.
Yeah.
But dude, Michelle Pfeiffer in that movie was part of my sexual awakening, I think.
No, I mean, I get it. I understand. Like, I do not regret.
Brian, we're live right now.
All right, no one can see this.
And I mean, like,
quick, turn off the cam.
I mean, there will always be things that I liked about like Batman and Robin. Like, I honestly like that Arnold Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze. I know it's not a great choice, but I did like it.
You can enjoy things that are bad sometimes.
She's out.
Like, yeah, it's just. And then Christopher Nolan comes in and is like, no, what if we treated Batman seriously, like the serious character that he is? Like, you know, the millionaire orphan, brooding detective, ninja.
I wish he did a bit more of the detective part of it.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's almost none of that. Like, there's almost none.
And he does let people die.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does. Like,
I mean, every Batman murders people in the movies in some way.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, no, that's true. And let's be honest, the amount of force that Batman throws henchmen around, if they're not dying, they're quadriplegics.
Yeah,
they're in trouble.
Yeah.
They're definitely in trouble.
Yeah.
So sometimes I know we're trying to push to the end here, so I don't want to take too much time on this, but sometimes we try and make a master list.
Well, Spielberg is number one.
Yeah,
So do we think he's number one? Because we all put him 4 or lower.
But he's the only one
He's
on every
all
list.
of our lists.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. So I mean,
other repeats are Kurosawa, Miyazaki, Russo brothers,
Nolan.
and Christopher Nolan.
So
we would say
Waititi's mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have a hard 4 for the top 4 spots. We can change the order, but Spielberg, Miyazaki, Kurosawa, Nolan are definitely.
I think that's
on
the
list.
proper. Yeah, I think that's probably the proper.
I think that's our top 5, definitely. Oh, Jim Henson.
Ooh,
Some of these I definitely wish I'd put on my list.
Same.
Yeah,
but this was a good set of. Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, like damn it. Although only one of us is allowed to steal them because he has control of the images and how they are displayed, and literally just took my blue background director picture.
Oh my God! You always find something to be mad about.
Yeah, I mean, I do pretty consistently do that every time. Like Mick said, like I'm gonna do some shit like that.
Something's gonna happen. Yeah. So those are the repeats. Other like Taika, Edgar Wright, a lot of agreeing about Edgar Wright.
Yeah, I think those at the very least could definitely be in honorable mentions.
Well, sometimes that's the thing. Sometimes we all come up with like someone in an honorable mention, and we're all just like, we all mentioned him as an honorable mention.
And you, the viewer.
And you.
No, you didn't direct me.
Viewers like you.
Like I wish Peter Jackson was on my list.
Yeah, so I guess we just have to come up with. So there's lots of 2s. So who's going to be the third? Who's going to be the third person to say Edgar Wright? Or Peter Jackson, or the Russo brothers.
See, well, it's not Peter Jackson for me. Like, I know that not having your heart in a project is one of the easiest ways to torpedo a big project, but he really should have fucking had his heart in The Hobbit. Really.
Fair enough. So Jackson is out. I don't care for the Russo brothers.
Okay.
I'll put a +1 for James Gunn. I'll put a +1 for Edgar Wright. I haven't.
Yeah, I'm the only one who mentioned James Gunn, though. So we need one of the repeats to get a 3rd or 4th repeat. So it'd be like Kurosawa, Miyazaki, Nolan.
Kurosawa's. But yeah, those are already on there.
Yeah, Kurosawa's already on there. He's a.
Kurosawa, Nolan, and Miyazaki.
Oh, I thought we were trying to figure out which one would be the solid number 2.
Well, let's put.
Because we said Spielberg at top.
Yeah.
Number 5, Kubrick for the moon landing.
No.
Not for that reason.
No.
If you want to give like a different reason, like him giving us R. Lee Ermey, then okay.
That'd be better.
Like.
He's on the list for one reason and one reason only.
For making Shelley Duvall quit acting.
All right. So I'll say this: my prediction, which did not necessarily come true.
Oh yeah, the prediction.
Mine did.
But we joked about this enough. My prediction is that Ben Stiller would be somewhere on a list.
I did talk about it.
My last prediction was that the most votes would be Miyazaki, which was wrong. It was Spielberg. Is that what you guessed? I would guess.
No, so I guessed you would guess that I would pick Edgar Wright.
Yes, that's correct.
Scott Pilgrim.
Ian is
I also
of Taika,
said that you would pick Wes Anderson, and that Ian is thinking of Taika Waititi.
Who did you think I was going to pick to get the most votes?
Oh. I don't know. I knew you were going to know I was going to pick Edgar Wright, so that's what I put.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, put Edgar Wright number 5 then.
Edgar Wright number 5. Boom. Russo brothers. Sorry, you got bumped.
Stiller, perfect, fine. Ben Stiller, also in many Wes Anderson films.
It's
so.
true. Like I will actually put right up there in reality. There were a lot of directors that I wanted to throw on my list, but like it was too long. Like Terry Gilliam, even though none of his movies make sense, they're always entertaining. But like, and I mean, like, Stiller has actually directed a lot of really solid stuff. And then there's things like Tropic Thunder, which is either really solid or deeply offensive, depending on whether you think it's one of those two things. I mean, because it's both.
He also directed The Cable Guy. Interesting.
Yeah, he the catch is it's hard to tell sometimes because he directs like a lot of the stuff he's acted in. He also directed, and it is kind of rare for a director to actually pull that off. Like a lot of the times you look at like directors who try and do their own thing, like actors who try and direct their own movies and vice versa. You get stuff like The Expendables or Rambo 4. Like, you know, yes, they were both Stallone movies, but you get where I'm going with it. But
yeah,
but like Stiller actually manages to make his movies like good while he's in them, which is weird. But that said, they don't stand up to stuff like this. Like Zoolander is probably the one that I would say ranks highest, probably his best film. But it still doesn't quite. You can't stack it up with, you know, Princess Bride or The Dark Knight or Seven Samurai. So.
Yep, Zoolander definitely better than Seven Samurai. Great conclusion to have drawn from this entire endeavor.
We did it.
Great job, everybody. We did it.
I think that's the wrong thing.
All right, everybody.
No, yeah, sorry. That's it. That's the final word.
The final word.
No, but you have presumably something to tease.
You would presume that.
I am presuming it.
But we fucked up.
We don't. Yeah.
Oh no, you did.
We don't know what we're doing next time.
We know.
We do.
Yeah.
No, we don't. Or well, who do you think it is?
Tom Cadigan.
No, I thought it was Mel.
Mel.
So you guys both missed that message that I put in the.
There were a lot of dates being thrown around. Mel, Brian and I talked about this right before you came on, but now Mel will be our next to next episode.
Yeah.
We have a gap.
July 8th. So we haven't figured out what we're doing on June 24th yet.
Nope.
Okay.
Not yet.
We'll find out.
It may be TCAD.
Yeah.
It may be TCAD, maybe ARC.
Isn't that PortCon?
Maybe Sam.
It's the night of PortCon.
Technically it is, yes. Though, I don't know what the online events are right now. PortCon in person is not going to have much going on Thursday night.
Nothing going on Thursday night, in fact.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be having anything as part of the online component on Thursday night. Certainly do go watch that on the 24th if you do feel the need. PortCon is great. Has touched all of us very personally for a very long time. I regret saying it that way.
Yeah, phrasing. Are we still doing phrasing?
Yes, we are.
Why aren't we doing phrasing anymore?
But no, like we will definitely do another one of these in 2 weeks. On the 24th, we will figure out what that is, and we will announce what that is. Who knows? Maybe we'll even do it in person. Like we can.
Oh, you could do that.
We could.
Oh my God!
Moly.
What if? Okay, all right, ready? Okay. We go to Sebago and we do it from Sebago.
We could.
I don't know if you're going to have the Wi-Fi to do
that's
it. More power to
you.
you.
We have cellular network.
Like, we feasibly could. You can stream from a phone quite reliably as long as you got signal. But, no, it's like, in all honesty, one of these days we'll be able to do all of this with us around, on a couch or around a table.
True.
Unless it's TCAD and he's got to make it difficult being from Boston.
Yeah.
Put an iPad on the couch next to you.
Oh yeah,
Had his face on it.
Yeah.
Not a live video feed, just an iPad with his face on it.
Yeah, and then his disembodied voice. All right, you settle down. You good?
Yeah. But yeah,
right.
So that's it for this week.
Good work, everybody.
It's good work. There was only we're back on our shit with our disagreeing about things. No, we didn't actually disagree about anything on the lists, but we disagreed in general.
Well stated.
Yep. But I want to thank Mick for hopping on with us again.
That's me.
Always fun having you. I know, like, the best, one of the things that I really like about having Mick on the show is that she will come up with a list the second we ask what she wants to do. So this has been in the can for like 4 weeks.
Well, I had to cancel the last one because of work disasters.
Yeah. But
So-
like,
And I'm guessing Mick usually has her picks pretty much nailed down by like within 24 hours.
that's what I'm saying.
Impulsive,
Like,
but also unchanging.
yeah. Look, sometimes going with the gut is right. But
It's true. That's my whole brand. That's why I take medicine now. I just had an instinct one day and said, you know what? Gotta do it.
I'm gonna do it.
I mean,
Can't stop me. I'm an adult.
look, I mean, sometimes I'm sticking by it. Sometimes the gut says, you know what, maybe I need medication and therapy. And
True.
sometimes,
Top
sometimes
5
you do.
medications. Here we go. All
Here we go.
right.
Let's do it.
Number 5.
Number
ibuprofen.
I'm predicting ibuprofen will be on that list.
Number 4, spironolactone.
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that one.
So wait, okay. Number
gonna
1,
learn a lot.
my CPAP machine.
Yeah, that counts. That
It
counts.
is, yeah, you had to
Okay.
get a prescription for it. So, yeah.
Aloe vera.
Oh yeah, there you go.
This is good. This is a great roundtable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
we're
is
doing
again.
it. We're
Think about
doing
it.
it.
Top 5 medications.
I'm going to Tiger Balm. There we go. That's mine.
Yeah.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. Prediction:
Roxy.
ibuprofen is going to be on everybody's list.
Yeah.
This is an aspirin household. Thank you.
The cuss it is. Over there taking blood thinners, my man? No way. No, they're not on aspirin.
You're right. It's a leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
My
long.
Tylenol,
prediction is
maybe.
Sean will pick Moxie just to try and pick me off.
Look, it was created, like most sodas, as a tonic.
Medicinal.
We're getting deeper in this than I thought we were going to.
It's cocaine.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Bye.
night. Thank you. Yeah, on behalf of myself, Mick, Sean, and Brian, thank you for watching. Join us again in 2 weeks. And until then, hope you have a nice night and a nice time. Goodbye.
Ibuprofen.
I didn't want to like wreck your stream ending, but I almost just like closed my video window.